What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? It is Thursday morning, January 24th at 11 a.m. You're watching the Low Shack in the Bag Show. My name is Jimmy the Bag. My partner, the legend, Lodos Low Shack, is in New York City right now. He will be back on Monday. I have to stay as calm as possible during this show. I can't freak out. I can't yell. I am deteriorating in front of your eyes. Every day is a little bit worse than the next, and I will be going to a hospital shortly. I believe I have something called chest AIDS. I'm not entirely sure what is going on, but it is not good. But still, there is money to be made, and I'm very excited about this show. Hockey out of the way. Hockey is gone. Hit the Leafs puck line. Lost on the Avs puck line, which was strange. If you were watching that game, the Avs were taking it to them early. Lost on the Avs puck line. Still a slight winning day in NHL. But let's put away hockey and focus on the hardwood, where we have been very successful. Now, coming off a bad day in NBA, I thought a few of those spots. Well, first off, Cavaliers first quarter, again, a winner. Starting to feel very good about it. They won outright, and we got 5.5 or 6 there. But the Nets don't cover. The Heat don't cover. Oladipo could be gone for the season, and the Pacers don't cover. And then, I should have listened to Dan Kelly. I did not put my Hornets bet in, and they won easily. So it's a disappointing day in NBA, but a great day in college basketball. Working with Maxwell Smart again. St. Bonaventure moneyline plus 140 cash. And working with Noli Knows, St. Bonaventure under in the Massachusetts game, 135.5 cash. Illinois State loser. FIU cash. Vermont loser. Stony Brook loser. Duquesne moneyline cash. And Loyola Maryland cashed easily. So it's a 5-3 day with a nice plus line involved. So it's a good day in college basketball again. And today we have a very exciting show. In about 11 minutes, Drew Martin will be joining us. He had a great call on UCF last night. Drew Martin will be joining us. And then, making his Low Shack in the Bag debut, we have Babano. Ian Cameron will be joining us live at about 10:30, 10:35. He'll be live joining us, breaking down more of this college basketball card. So I am very excited to be here. First, let's give a shout out to all the guys in the chat. Ryan Campbell also showing his work ethic by coming in first. See, I got a little loud there, and I almost started coughing. So I got to stay calm. Got to be calm in this show. My man Geghard A, shout out to you. Says Lillard questionable with a hand for the Knights versus Suns. Are we really confident in Blazers covering the 7.5 spread in Phoenix? I doubt it. Geghard A says Suns plus 7.5 at home. Let's get it. Very interesting. Jorge don't play in the house. Corey Kelly, Ringer Ring, Chris Stansbury, Joe Ramirez, Reggie Thomas, Trenton Claxton. Trenton Claxton says IUPUI half free money. JC Alvarez, Nut Flush Allen in the house. Coco Bongo, Ninja 13, Art Hayes, my man Smooth Godwin, Matt Randall, Edward Younger, Leroy Flood, Matus Redzinski, Cincer 1980, Robbie Tagaloa, Sean Watson. We got a great group. Mr. Gokster who won the prize and will be flying down to Costa Rica to join us at the penthouse of Crocs Casino for the Betcast. We got Nasty Nate. We got King Rail in the house. Hornets max bet and Clippers tried to warn about Miami. Denver took that L though. Wow. Yeah, King Rail. And then when I saw that you were on Hornets max bet, I was like, why did I get scared? Big in the house. Chad Ocho, Cameron Joyce, Base Kniff, Brooke Jordan joining us. Cole Coleone, Ski Profit in the house. What a great group. Diedrich Davis, Stantino 129, Andre Harrison, Bleds W. Sean Williams in the house says, took it in the old drink hole last night with 2 bad plays. I will be as vocal with my L's as I am with my W's. Ready to bounce back today. Sean Williams, I love that. That is exactly what we want from low baggers. No apology necessary. We don't apologize on low bag. You've been giving us winner after winner after winner. And I love everything you said there. We believe in you completely and totally. Sean Williams is a man and a beloved member of the Low Bag family. We got Nick M. Okay, we got a great group. Great group. Gegard says Lillard moved to day-to-day. Vishnu Ace in the house. David H joining us. Okay, we have got a lot of work to do on this card. Let's start with the NBA card. And King Rail saying, I'm also on IUPUI first half. And that game is off and running. Oakland up 6-2 right now. Very interesting. Might be a nice spot for an in-play bet there. That's the alone afternoon game. The rest of the games are at 7 o'clock. Ron Lawson says 713 viewers for LoBag's show and 500 plus for King's Court yesterday. Very nice. Yes. And I'll let you guys know that we at LoBag believe in that King's Court immensely, and we are very lucky and fortunate to be the show that rolls into them. That show will continue to get success more and more and more and more. I bet you King's Court hits 1,000 live viewers. Shout out to all the guys on King's Court. Congratulations to you guys for all the success. Flipper 13 in the house. Bax Mrackney in the house on Oakland plus 4.5. Okay, so first off, it is Thursday. And on Saturday, I know you guys are going to be focusing on the hardwood. That's great. But me, I'm going to be focusing on the $9 million dirt race at Gulfstream Park, the $7 million turf race at Gulfstream Park. We are doing a Beat the Bag competition. Beat the Bag for the Pegasus World Cup. And it's free to enter. $100 to the winner, plus you get 200 bet points if you beat the bag. I just want you guys to see what it is and take a look at it. Free to enter. You can't lose here. So come join me. The more people we have entering, the more people that I can get, or the more cash I can get for prizes. So that's the link right there. Oh shit, sorry. This is the link right there. That's the link for the Pegasus World Cup Beat the Bag. Dom Ricci says, Jimmy, you sound better. I feel worse, Dom, but I love you very much. It's very kind of you to right now get to bed. I tried to, but horrifying coughs wake me up like nightmares. And then you say, oh, well, how can I make the bets? Here is a free program for the Beat the Bag contest. So there, all you need to know, there is a program. You don't even need to know horses. There is a program with the morning line odds. Put in your bets. The more people I have rolling with me, the higher I can put the prizes up. And I love horses. Thoroughbred horse is my favorite thing to do in the whole world. So please, help out me by joining this Beat the Bag competition. It would mean a lot to me. Okay, now we got great cappers in the chat, great NBA cappers in the chat, ready to get to work. Joy Jack says, Red Girl unders cashed out lately. Red Girl is the truth. And let's break down this NBA card while we got all these great guys joining us right now. Okay, let's start with Warriors at Wizards. Let me also start by getting just a simple water because I'm dying on it. Okay, Warriors at Wizards. Warriors are coming off their 8th straight win, 130-111 beat down to the Lakers in LA. That was a game that King Rail was all over. First quarter, first half, full game. I jumped on first half, full game with great success. DeMarcus Cousins will play his 3rd game since returning from the Achilles injury that sidelined him almost an entire year. Cousins' last game, 8 points, 2 for 9 shooting, but 9 boards and 5 assists in 21 minutes. God, he looks good. This is a dangerous thing. I mean, this is so scary. Klay Thompson says he gives us a huge jolt. Let's get that winning streak to double digits. Haven't done it all year. That would be real nice. Oh, and Klay Thompson against the Lakers, he goes in 26 minutes for 44 points. 17 of 20 shooting. 10 of 11 from 3. Made his first 10 threes. He's the first Warriors player in the shot clock era since 54-55 score at least 40 points and shoot 85% from the field. Paulo Moquez says, Jim, after you go to the hospital, you will return good. You will see, mate. We pray for you. Oh, man. Much love, Paulo Marquez. You don't need to pray for me, though. This is just some sort of weird sickness. There are much more important things and people to pray for. But thank you so much, Paulo Marquez. Much love. King Rail says, same thing happens again tonight. Jonas Jerebko will miss the next 3 games. So we're going to see a little bit more Boogie. Dan Kelly says, needs a spinach intervention. I was hitting that spinach last night, Dan. Like you said, I was hitting it. Now, Jerebko's wife's expecting, so we're going to see a little bit more of DeMarcus Cousins. Who cares if Jerebko's going to be there or not? Washington coming off its best defensive effort of the season. 101-87 win at the Pistons, missing Andre Drummond on Monday night. Wizards held the Pistons to just 34 points in the opening half, led by as many as 20. Wizards have won 2 straight, 7 of 10 to stay in contention for a playoff spot in the East. 7 reached double figures. Ariza, 20 and 12. Otto Porter, 19. Can this Wizards team stay close to the Warriors? That's what I want to hear. My man Alex, need for tips. What a great cap. We're going to get Alex on one of these shows because he's just, we did get him on a Friday a little while ago, but man, this guy is absolutely destroying it. Shout out to Alex. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Thomas Corrigan. I've given Thomas Corrigan a few shout outs out, and he's very much deserving of them. Out of Portugal. Has his own NBA podcast out there. Says, what up? I know the market's going over, but I have a strong lean to the under. Washington's playing some D. They'll try to keep up with Golden State. Warriors have the Boston game in 2 days as well. They do. They have a very, quite a look-ahead spot. That was one of the reasons why I was kind of taking the Cavaliers first quarter. Let's take a quick look at what's gone on with the total. It's gone up a point and a point and a half to 235.5. I like that look. I like that look on the under, Thomas. Golden State now 10-point favorites. At some books open at 9-point favorites. Let's see what you guys think. And America in the house, thank you for joining us. Nick M says, Wizards improving. Sacktown King says, Wiz have been playing well, but how can I step in front of the Warriors? I wonder how Rail is going to handle this. I wonder if he's going to go again first quarter, first half, full game. Very interesting spot. I like Thomas's look on the under. I know that the Warriors' only hope will be to defend like crazy. Malcolm Haskins says, college locks. We have Drew Martin joining us. Then we have Babano joining us. Then we have Maxwell Smart on the Late Show. We're going to have a lot of college breakdowns here. Dave L.A. says, no, Jimmy, over. Elliot V says, Golden State wants to smack everybody they can, and they will cover tonight. Bluebird says, Durant goes off tonight in D.C. Yeah, Durant opened up an after-school program, and I didn't really look too much into it, but Durant's doing big things in his old neighborhood, and that's a very, very important thing. 400 said, there is no angle for the Wizards, Warriors, or nobody. Matt Meadow says, Jimmy, you jumped on the Raps +6 last night. I did not. Joe Ramirez says, 10 is too many, liked it at 9. Paulo Marquez says, no Durant tonight. No, Durant will be there. Durant's all good. Drew Daddy, Golden State over, 4-2 in the last 6. Eric Nisbet says, Timberwolves, lay it and play it. Why don't we move on from the Warriors game? Mally Mal liking Golden State. Pelicans at Thunder. Thunder coming off their 3rd straight win, 123-114 over the Blazers. With Andre Robertson out for the year, well, he may come back, but, with a big knee injury. And then Alex Abrinas, we don't know exactly what he was doing with being out of line for personal reasons. Terrence Ferguson has stepped up in a big way. Over his past 8 games, 55% from 3, averaging 3.4 made threes per game. This is a team that has trouble from the 3-point line. Jeremy Miller says, over the last 5 games, OKC ranks first in first quarter points. Pelicans are the worst in first quarter points. It's funny you mentioned that. Funny you mentioned that, Jeremy, because I had the Thunder first quarter, first half against the Lakers. They smashed first quarter. They dominated that first quarter. And then they let the Lakers all the way back into it. It was nuts. I couldn't get it. Dave L.A. says, over. Both teams shooting well. I do not trust the Pelicans here. I also looked at what the Thunder would be first quarter. I thought of going back to that well. And I did not like seeing the 4 there. The 4 is a little much. It's not that they can't do it, but the 4 is a little much. I do not think that Jahlil Okafor, Davis is going to miss his 3rd consecutive game. And Mirotic is now going to be gone as well. It's a back-to-back, so we're not expecting Mirotic. You keep taking players off of this front court of the Pelicans, they don't stand a chance. I don't see how they're going to do anything here. I just truly, Andre Harrison says OKC rolls. Nick M says OKC coming out strong, going with first quarter. Big says New Orleans D is bad. What about the under in OKC? Pelicans says Ty Clinton. Well, we already know that Dave L.A. likes the over. Wow, Brad Dale says that Durant's not playing. God, this is new information. Are you serious? I did not know any of this information. Let's quickly get to this. Wow. Why is he not playing? And where did you get this information? Why don't I have it? I do not have it. And does anybody know about this Durant spot? Because this is the first I heard that Durant's not playing. I would love to know if you guys know that Durant's not playing, because that's obviously would change. The under would be a very, very nice spot. Jahlil Okafor's looked pretty good. I think he'll look a little bit worse every single game. The Sweaty Butcher says OKC is the play. Thomas Gorgim says I want OKC team total over, but not at 122.5. Joe Ramirez says this card sucks. Joe, we'll find angles. We'll find, and Gregor says Melly Mouse says Durant is not out. Need for tips. Much love to you. Okay, no news on KD anywhere. And Dave L.A. says, no, I'm saying over Warriors Wizards. Okay, thank you, Dave L.A. Thank you for clearing that up. Okay, let's keep rolling here. We got Drew Martin joining us very, very soon. Blazers at Suns. Blazers coming off 123-114 road loss at OKC on Tuesday night. McCollum scored 31, 21 in the third, 7 for 12 from 3. Damian Lillard, this is a big story of this game. Questionable with a right hand contusion. If you were playing the worst team in the West and you knew your point guard needed a rest, this would be the time to rest him. Dave LA says OKC first quarter is a lock. Wow. I like it too, but it's 4 too many points. Is 4 too many points? That's what we need to figure out. That's what we need to figure out. Okay, let's keep rolling. Suns coming off that ugly 118-91 loss. Now let's break it down. Devin Booker was ejected. Pair of technicals. He goes at Georgie Dang. He tries to get to Dang after the game. He's showing emotion. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He's always played well against the Blazers. If Lillard is out, then is there a spot here with the Suns? And that was the very first thing that was said in the chat when we got here. The very, very first thing. This is tough. Mally Mal says fade the Suns. Last time we saw the Suns in action, both Ski Prophet and King Rail were saying, take the Wolves. Don't worry about the total here. How can the Suns play with all these injuries? TJ Warren with the ankles now out. DeAndre Ayton sprained ankle, questionable, and so is Rashawn Holmes with a sprained foot. It does make me feel like there's just a ton. I guess we need more information. We need to find out about Lillard. We need to find out about the Suns' bigs. So maybe this is a wait and figure out type of game. Now let's go to the Wolves at Lakers. Rondo game time decision tonight with the Lakers. They need him bad. They got James out of the lineup, and we're dealing with Lonzo Ball out of the lineup. It would be very nice to see Rondo in this spot. Smart money like in Portland first quarter. Lakers coming off a 131-11 road loss at Golden State. They are 5-9 right now without James and Rondo in the lineup. But they beat the Warriors 127-101 the day that they got injured, and that was unbelievable. It was Christmas Day. I couldn't believe that happened. Wolves have regained some confidence, but against the Suns. They won that tight 2-point game and then smashed the Wolves Tuesday, 118-91. Wolves are now 4-3 under Ryan Saunders, Flip's son. Karl Anthony Towns scored at least 20 points, 13 of his last 14 games, averaging 26.1 points a game. Josh Okogie stepping up. Those of you who liked him in college, you're seeing something special here right now. 21-point game. A lot of people saying nice things about him. Taj Gibson said this guy's a future All-Star. Jeff Teague out with a foot injury. Tyus Jones ankle injury. They're day-to-day. Covington out indefinitely. Elliot V says Lakers will not win. 400 says, I fade the Timberwolves. They're really not a good team. My man Troy V, Jimmy Cat's first quarter, boom. That was a nice spot. I wish I had more of them last night. The Sweaty Butcher, I'm on T-Wolves even if Rondo plays. Wow, Brad Dale says Rondo's playing, KD's being rested. Wow, very interesting. I don't want to make a move as if he's being rested at this point. Wow, yeah, Ron Lofton says Booker loves Phoenix. Get him a point guard, please. There are point guards on the market. And I don't know why they didn't go after one. Elliot V says, best play for me is the Wolves. King Rail says, in-play game, Jimmy, I think LA wins, though. Chris Garza says, Jimmy, I don't appreciate this. Chris Garza, sorry, I don't know. I'm doing this solo. I can't keep an eye on the chat. I don't know what you don't appreciate. Chris Garza said, King's blocking people for no reason. Chris Garza, it's tough. It's tough being in a public spotlight situation like King is, because you know that the type of shit that happens online, and sadly 90% of it is negative online, and we all have to deal with that. And what we try to create here with the LoBag family is a, I don't want to say a safe place because it's a kind of a pussy thing to say, maybe a safe place. I don't even want to say that either. We just want to create a spot where we can cap together. We don't need to apologize for losses. And we bring experts in, and we, fatten our pockets and working together as a team. And that's what we're trying to create here. But in King's position, people are saying negative stuff about him, and people are saying negative stuff about me. I totally understand the situation. Sometimes you get a little block happy, but you can understand that if there's tons of hate coming your way that is, not necessary. And so, it's very difficult being in a public situation, like a public spotlight like that. So oh God. Okay. Dying. So why don't I, right now, while I need water badly, why don't I see my man, Drew Martin, in my peripheral vision that I utilized as a power play specialist in my youth. Drew Martin, my man, coming off a big call with UCF. Thank you so much for joining us. We have this giant college card. I just made no plays on this NBA card. I promise plays are going to come. I just think we need a little bit more information. That Durant thing scares the shit out of me. Also, the Thunder seem like the right play, but I am very uncomfortable, and I have a losing record taking anything over -3.5 in first quarters. But I do like the Thunder early. Blazers, Suns, we need more information. And then do we jump on the T-Wolves? Maybe that's a spot here. In saying all that, I've made no plays in NBA, but there will be plays coming. And we have Drew Martin joining us right now to break down this college card. Drew Martin, how are you, my man?
Jimmy, JTV, Jimmy the Bag, Puta Vida Mai, Buenos Dias. Good morning to everybody out there. I'm doing good, man, and I hope you are. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're staying safe down there in Costa Rica, Jimmy.
I am staying safe. The sicker I get, the safer I've been, in all honesty. But as you know, Drew, I go nowhere alone. That's a key to my safety. But I can't wait till you come down here for the Super Bowl betcast, man. I cannot wait to hang with you. It's going to be good. I hear you're getting in almost a week here. And, man, can't wait to hit Hako with you and the boys. It's going to be really, really wonderful. Some big games on the hardwood in college basketball, and we have to start with two ranked teams smashing each other. I need to start with Michigan State at Iowa. Open Michigan State -5.5. Still a couple 5.5s, mostly 5s. Total open at 156. Now 156.5s and 157s. This is the biggest game on the card today in my eyes. Michigan State at Iowa. What are you thinking here, Drew?
Yeah, it's a huge game, Jimmy, no doubt about it. Two really good teams in the Big Ten. Big Ten's been a good conference all year long. Carver Arena, Iowa City's going to be popping tonight. You know, Iowa is a very skilled team. I wouldn't necessarily say they're an athletic team, but they're very efficient, very skilled on the basketball court. Also, a couple things to note. They're the third highest free throw rate in the country. They're getting to the line, and they're knocking down their free throws at 76%. I was looking sidewise to get on the Spartans, but those numbers kind of scare me because it's something that I don't think the betting markets are really in tune to or really put enough emphasis in is free throw rate and getting to the line as much as they do and knocking down their free throws. So it kept me off of the side. I'm actually looking towards this total, Jimmy. And when you talk about Michigan State under Tom Izzo, very well coached, good defensive team. So going up against skilled offensive teams, I really like that profile. I like that matchup for the Spartans. Michigan State has held 4 of their last 6 opponents under 60 points. That's pretty impressive there in Big Ten play. They've also won 12 games in a row, so I wouldn't necessarily look to bet against the Spartans. And when we talk about finding change and winning in the sports betting markets, we found it here with Michigan State since Josh Langford's been out, arguably their best player, wing guy, really runs up the court and helps them put pressure on the opposing defense, going more up-tempo. Since he's been out, Michigan State has had 4 unders in a row, and 6 of their last 7 games have stayed under the total. So I know Iowa likes to push pace. They can put the ball in the basket. But when it comes to betting college basketball totals, I tend to lean on the team that can slow the game down more and play good defense to control the pace. Even though the Spartans are on the road, they're the more athletic team with a high total here, flirting with 160. I think this game stays under. This is my largest bet of the day. It's not a card that I particularly love, but I got a full unit on the Michigan State versus Iowa under the total, Jimmy.
Ooh, I like it. Going against the market move to the over. Hail to the Victor says Iowa outright watch. Troy V says Michigan State blows out Iowa. Cody Valentine says Iowa can score buckets. Very, very interesting. We got Maxwell Smart in the house. Looking forward to hear what he has to say. 400 says, is Langford still out? Corey Dickerson says, completely agree with Drew. Headshot says, Michigan State seems like they have been undervalued all year. King Rail says, tailing Drew. Capper John says, Michigan State line is short by like 5 points. Troy V says, Iowa never beats MSU at home. Very, very, very interesting spot. I love what you're looking at. Looking at the over early. Or sorry, the under early. Oh, that's exciting. And you're going to stay off the side on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought some of the guys that you just read their numbers, I mean, as far as this line looking low, I kind of agree with them, but it comes to, laying -5, -6, depending where you're shopping here, And if are you looking to lay that number against an Iowa team that can knock down free throws at the end of the game here? They're a skilled team. They can put the ball in the basket. They're at home, Carver Arena. This is, I'm guessing, their biggest game of the year. It's going to be a raucous crowd. I'm really not looking to lay points, although gun to head, I would be on Michigan State. I haven't bet it. I likely won't. Jimmy, I think the better bet is on the total, and it's staying under the number we're seeing here.
Oh, I find this a very exciting. Oh, I can't get too loud. I can't get too loud. I find it a very exciting way to start the day off. Drew liking the under in Michigan State at Iowa. Matt Randall also saying stay off the side. Wow, that is an exciting way to start things off. Jorge, don't play like your Michigan State money line and under parlay. Mally Mal says Iowa will probably cover. Very interesting. I see Max talking about the Miami at Syracuse game, so why don't we just jump into that? Another very exciting spot. Open Syracuse -9, now -8 on the board. Some money coming in on Miami. Total open at 140. It's now dropped to 137 and a half. You got any feel on this Miami at Syracuse spot?
Yeah, Jimmy, another game I'm actually going to look to go against this market move. You know, coming into conference play, things are changing in the betting markets, and this Miami team, they're catching money for some reason. I'm not agreeing with it, Jimmy, but they're just so banged up. You know, a rotation of just 7 guys in ACC play. That's not a profile I'm looking to bet on, especially going up to Northern New York, going up to Syracuse. This is a Miami team that hasn't won a road game all year, hasn't covered a road game outside of the state of Florida. So to think that they're going to go make the long trip up, head into the Carrier Dome, and come out with a win, even cover, I think it's a stretch to ask that out of this team, banged up Larinaga team. Syracuse has won 6 of their last 7, both straight up and ATS. They stumbled out of the gate a little bit, lost a couple of questionable games early in the season. They've looked to turn it around, even beat Duke. I know Duke was banged up, but that's still a big win. Miami 3-7, their last 10 against the number. Not a good stat there. Obviously, the lack of depth. And Syracuse, you know, Miami's going to have to score to stay in this game. Syracuse top 15 defense, that mostly zone defense under Jim Boeheim. Very well-coached team. I look for Syracuse to cover this number at home.
Syracuse to cover the number at home. You know, in that Syracuse-Duke game, our own Dan Kelly was on Syracuse money line, and they were coming off that terrible, terrible game. And Dan said that Boeheim teams do this, and watch Syracuse beat Duke outright, got 14-1. So shout out to our man Dan Kelly. Put that in the chat. I wish I had the balls to go with it. I did take Syracuse to cover, but did not have the balls. Sean Robertson says Hughes should roll. Joe Vasconcelos says Syracuse and the under. I know that you're on Syracuse here. What do you think about this total movement towards the under?
Not too much opinion, Jimmy, just because I think it's a volatile handicap to kind of handicap totals with teams like Miami, where there's a lack of depth. So towards the end of the game, I tend to think that their legs kind of give out on them a little bit. And it's very hard because, you know, it affects their shooting, but it also affects them getting back on defense. I don't have a really good read on Miami totals-wise, so I kind of just stayed away from that one.
And is part of the reason you are liking Syracuse the same thing that Sean Watson is seeing? Because of the injuries, Miami has no size. Any team with size beats them, and we know that Syracuse has that?
Absolutely. That on top of the fact that just in ACC play, if you have a lack of depth, that's not a profile I would look to back at any means. So, it's as much of a bet as fade Miami as it is on Syracuse. So those two things combined, it makes for a half a unit wager for me, Syracuse -8.
Wow, I like it. I like it a lot. Cameron Joyce saying Golden State Warriors -9 is max bet. We're getting rumors that already are. Gegard A says seems like the Durant news might be for real. Cameron Joyce, if you haven't made that bet yet, I would hold off. You will get a better line once they announce Durant is out. So I really think that you should try to just have some patience there. You may have a nicer spot in an hour or two. Jorge Don't Play says, so what's the play on Q's? Drew Martin is taking Syracuse. And Drew, you got them at -8 or -9?
I got them at -9. I thought I could, looking at SBR odds, is it down to 8 now?
Yeah.
So it's moved against me. I bet it at -9. Might add a little bit here at 8, but It's just a half a unit wager for me, Jimmy. I like the under in the Iowa game a little bit more, but I did touch this Syracuse minus the points.
I love it. I love it, Drew. So we have Babano joining us shortly, but there's another game that I find very interesting, and maybe there's something else that you want to talk about as well. But let me hit you with this game I find very interesting. Memphis at Temple. Open Temple minus 4.5, now minus 5's on the board. The total opened at 160, now 158 and 157.5's on the board. What are you thinking in this spot?
You know, this Memphis team, they really get after it on the offensive end under Penny Hardaway, playing pressure defense and really driving to the basketball a lot. 7-3 to the over their last 10, and Memphis is a top 10 team in terms of tempo, so they're getting up and down the court. And Temple, on the other hand, 6 straight overs. So finding teams like trending to the over and riding that wave, you're finding it here with the Temple Owls. Temple's also averaged over 75 possessions their last 5 games. So Fran Duffy's crew is really picking up the pace. Jimmy, I don't know if you've noticed in the AAC, there's been a couple articles about it, and if you're watching these games, especially USF and Memphis, they're just getting to the free throw line a lot. It's almost like the referees have changed the way they're calling the games in this conference. A lot more fouls. It's equal to a lot of overs, way more than last year. So it's a trend I think there's still legs on as far as making money in the next couple weeks. If you've been betting overs in the AAC, you've been making good money. And I still think it's a little bit under the radar. And Memphis is one of those teams that qualifies as far as driving to the basket. And obviously Temple with 6 straight overs. This is a good matchup here. We're getting a high total. You know, we're starting to flirt with 160. I think you can still get it 157.5 maybe. Might still be out there. So I put a half a unit on this over, Jimmy.
Wow, half a unit on the over, because the BetOnline opened it at 160. So you liking that over is interesting. Very, very interesting. So 6 overs in a row with Temple and going to be rolling with it again. Bunch of people here liking Temple, except for Kobe liking Memphis, but everybody else liking Temple here. Find this extremely interesting. You have any feel on the side?
Not much. I guess I would kind of lean with Memphis. I like what Penny Hardaway's doing as far as, yeah, I think he's just a really good coach. And when teams drive to the basket a lot, combined with the fact that, you know, there's no denying they're calling more fouls in the AAC, I would look for that trend to bet on. I haven't bet it, though, because Temple's been all right as well. So I haven't bet the side. Don't have much to say. I'm just sticking to the total.
Sticking to the total. So far from Drew. Drew is liking the under in Michigan State at Iowa. He's liking Syracuse to cover and also liking the over in Memphis at Temple. Now, it's an enormous card, Drew, such a big card. Is there any other games that you're going to have an eye on that you're thinking about that maybe you'll put out on Twitter or something? What else is catching your eye on this giant card?
You know what? Those are the only 3 games that I bet. Full unit on the Michigan State game and then 2 half-unit wagers. So everything else, I'm just going to do some more work during the day. Yeah, you can, follow me on Twitter. Might put something else out, but nothing else. I looked at this St. Mary's BYU game. I'm just kind of scared going against BYU being at home. It's kind of a tough bet that way, but I was looking to get on St. Mary's, haven't pulled the trigger. But also don't have anything on tomorrow's card. I have a couple matchups on Saturday's card that I have circled, but obviously lines aren't out yet. So hopefully Saturday can kind of fire away at the odds makers, but not much else other than those 3 games, Jimmy.
Well, Maxwell Smart says, Drew, I love those plays. So you're getting a lot of love here from the chat. What a treat it is to run with you, Drew. Thank you so much for all the help that you've given us on these morning shows as I've been running solo. It's been enormously helpful. Where can we find you on Twitter, and what else do you have going on this week?
At Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. Feel free to interact. Let me know whatever you want to talk about. And Jimmy, got the Saturday show, the Closing Line College Basketball, 11 a.m. till 12 noon Eastern on Saturdays, going after the huge Saturday college basketball card. Over 200 teams playing that day. In my opinion, as far as mainstream sports go, Saturday college basketball is the best day to get an advantage over the odds makers. Just so much for them to do. So if you do your homework, you can kind of get out in front of some of these line moves. and hopefully find some winners on that show on Saturday. So feel free to join us. Follow me on Twitter at DrewMartinBets. Jimmy, before I leave, can I ask you, how's Mr. Loshak doing, man, with his women trouble? Is he all right? Are they Ticas? Are they Gringas? What's going on with him, man?
Well, you know Peter's style, right? Peter's style is hippie BBWs and MILFs. So, it's a volatile group, right? It's a volatile group. So he takes them back to his treehouse. Things are always looking good. Then the squirrels come and fuck everything up. We know at the Betcast he'll probably have a harem with him. And I'm looking forward to hear the stories when he comes back. I just hope he's still got that mustache and long hair. Sometimes these hippie BBW MILFs like to trim his hair and trim his mustache. I hope that's not going to be happening, but we will have stories from Peter Loshak when he returns, and we will all get to hang out together at the Betcast down in Hocko Beach. Love you so much, Drew. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jimmy, man. Best of luck tonight. Thanks, guys.
So we are still trying to connect with Babano. I imagine that will happen very, very shortly. Chad Ocho says Loshak likes some thick. Jorge Don't Play says Loshak is a smart guy. You got that right. So a little repeat for my man Lamont Williams of the plays that have gone on so far. This is from Drew. We have Drew's liking the Michigan State at Iowa under. He's liking Syracuse in Miami at Syracuse. And he's also liking the over in the Memphis Temple game. That's what is going on right now. So we're still waiting to connect with Babano. But right now, let's break down this card and wait for him to come out and hear what some of you guys are saying. Hail to the Victor says, Iowa lock. You heard it here outright. Carolina Capper says, Ian knows his stuff. Capper John says, it's only 139 college and added games on Saturday. Mr. Gokes says, see you in a week, bro. Ben Sportspick 24/7 said, Oakland was definitely an underplay today. Facts. Interesting stuff. Well, let's take a look while we are waiting for Babano to join us. Let's take a look at the rest of this card. And there are some big games and some rivalry spots. Interesting stuff going on here. We have Arizona State at UCLA as a late game that will garner a lot of interest from us, and I'm sure from our man Maxwell Smart. We got Washington at Oregon. Oregon dealing with the loss of Bull pretty well. Opened at 3-point favorites, now 2.5-point favorites. A very interesting spot there. We have Detroit Mercy at Illinois Chicago. Let's see. Christopher Comentini talking about Tulsa plus 14. And Bruce Ian also saying Iowa wins that game outright. So let's see. We got Tulsa. Let's take a look at all these quick line moves here. The Miami-Syracuse game is going to be very exciting, but also we got two ranked teams in North Carolina State at Louisville. North Carolina State at Louisville. Let's see what Max has to say here. He says, I think UCSB still has value. Just be aware they are not the scoring team of last year. Walla Walla Dose says, still can't find anything about news on Durant. He was in Maryland opening up an after-school center. That's what I was saying, Walla Walla Dose. That is exactly what I was saying. Why would he miss that game? Res Mob in the house. King Rail says, dumb turnover is going to kill my first half IUPUI. I feel that. Kobe Valentine says, Jimmy, North Carolina State money line. Interesting. Finding a dog in this North Carolina State at Louisville spot. This line is not moved at all. -4.5 still across the board, and the total is not moved at all either. And Ian Cameron says, good morning, everyone. I am on my way. It's nice to hear that. Ian, we are looking forward to seeing you make your Loshak in the Bag debut live. DJ Big Boss says, guess who's on the Oakland Thunder? That would be my man, Ty, DJ Big Boss, making that paper. Let's W says, my boy Ian, I miss the Ice Guys. I miss the Ice Guys too. I would love if we could get some of them to start guesting on our show, so especially after the All-Star break in the stretch run of the NHL season. Troy V says, where's Pete? Is he okay? Yes, he's okay. He's in New York, taking care of some family things. He will be all good. Nothing to worry about. What was that? Christopher Money says, Jimmy, where are you going to be at the Super Bowl again? We're going to be at Crocs Hotel and Casino. It's going to be great. We have a penthouse locked down. It's going to be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Capper John says, take Detroit at UIC. Says UIC blows, and Detroit looking to bounce back after that tough game against Oakland. Yeah, and we know that Coach Toplinski joined us and was talking about the new member of this Detroit Mercy squad, 6'8" score that they've added. So Detroit Mercy, and he was saying, will the market catch up to what Detroit Mercy is capable of doing? Maybe this is a great spot for Detroit Mercy. 5.5-point dogs. That total's gone down too. I'm going to make a little note right here. Detroit Mercy. So, and NC State are two dogs that probably have life today. Detroit Mercy. We're talking about dogs. Maxwell Smart's been finding these dogs. And there I see in my peripheral vision our man Babano in the house. Paco Healy saying, who won the trip to Costa Rica? It was none other than Mr. Gokster. Mr. Gokster joining us says, let's get the Ice Guys back. I'm going to push that. I agree. The Ice Guys were a spectacular show and a great, great group. Mally Mal leaning over in the Mercer game. WW Train says, Temple always disappointed me. Maxwell Smart says, Detroit Mercy zone and free throw shooting, good spot in this game. Wow, Detroit Mercy as a dog might be very, very nice. Malcolm Hassan says, Gonzaga covering the 20 points. We will get to those games. If we don't get to them with Babano, we will get to them with Maxwell Smart on the Late Show. But without further ado, making his Low Shack in the Bag live debut, my man, Babano, Ian Cameron. How you doing in Steel Town, my man?
Jimmy the Bag, good to be with you here on this Thursday show. It's been a while.
It has been too long. I enjoyed partying with you at IFBC immensely, and I just don't get enough opportunities to do shows with you, so I'm very excited to be working with you right now. Babano, my guy, I know you're killing it in NCAA basketball. What is jumping out at you on this giant Thursday card?
It's always this Thursday card, Jimmy, where you got a lot of Pac-12 games. You get a sprinkle of Big Ten ACC. You get a few AAC. You get a lot of Horizon League, Colonial Athletic Association, Metro Atlantic, Conference USA. A lot of these smaller conferences, Ohio Valley. By the way, if you're an Ohio Valley fan or just a fan of really good college basketball, watch Murray State and Belmont tonight. That is a underrated matchup tonight. It should be a great one. Two great basketball teams. Everybody knows how good John Morant is for Murray State. Belmont, coached by Rick Byrd. He's done a tremendous job. Seems like he's been there forever. Multiple decades at Belmont. Had a great program there. Been to the NCAA tournament multiple times. Murray State's not a team, though, I'm looking to bet against right now. And we have seen Belmont, even though they've been one of the best teams in this conference for years, this has not been a Belmont team that's run the gauntlet perfectly this season in conference play. They've had stubbed their toe a couple of times. Jacksonville State's beat them twice already in conference play this season. I just like what I see right now from this Murray State team. John Morant is just a tremendous player. He's got a big upside coming up for him at the NBA level in the professional ranks. You can only lay about, -5 right now. Last I checked the number with Murray State. I'd lay the points, to be honest with you. I know Belmont, you got to respect them. Good basketball team. I don't think they're playing the same type of defense that they have in years past. And I think Murray State, better of these two teams this year. In that game, I would lay the 5 with the Racers.
I like that spot. That dunk that Ja put on last game was unbelievable. It just seemed like he kept soaring at the same height. Liking Murray State here. The line opened at -6.5 at Bet Online. Let me see if I can jump on this total here and see what movement is there. You think this will be a high-scoring or low-scoring affair?
Belmont always wants to push the pace. They shoot a lot of threes. That's always the type of game that they want to play, the style that they want to play. Murray State, though, has been pretty good defensively. And you get the feeling that, with such a big game, these two programs have always been very, very good. That maybe defense sort of takes hold a little bit, and you're seeing the under take some money. It opened 159.5, moved down to about 156.5, 157 in this game. It's a high number. I mean, Belmont can go over these numbers in the high 150s, but you got to think in a game like this, you might see a little bit of extra effort being placed on the defensive end of the basketball court. I'm staying off the total, Jimmy. It's just going to be Murray State laying the points for me.
Steven Esposito says, I love Murray State. Troy V, Murray State, first half, book it. And Elliot V says, won't get in front of Murray State. Nice breakdown, getting our show rolling here. DJ Big Boss says, Murray pride in defense. What else are you looking at on this card?
Well, we're looking at a bunch of them, Jimmy. We're looking at Tulsa. They're playing Cincinnati tonight. Cincinnati's laying about 13.5, 14 in this game. I'm looking at Tulsa plus the double digits in this game because if you look at Cincinnati recently, they've been terrible as home favorites. They've been terrible laying big points in general. This is a Cincinnati team that I don't think's fully clicked yet. I know they had a nice road win against Wichita State last weekend, but we saw Wichita State really just urinate and vomit all over themselves earlier this week against South Florida. Maybe one of the single worst performances I've seen from a basketball team in college hoops this season, Wichita State in that game. So I think that, that chips away at the quality of that Cincinnati win last weekend. Tulsa, to me, is scrappy. The one concern Tulsa is they're off such a tough loss against Central Florida. Man, they had that game in the bag, no pun intended. A double-digit lead in that game, led by 9 at halftime, and Frank Haith's team let it slip away. UCF comes back, wins that game by 2. You're just a little bit concerned that, can they bounce back and they get back on the saddle again? But, they're playing pretty good defense right now, this Tulsa Golden Hurricane team. Cincinnati doesn't have the same old issues with Cincinnati. Their offense goes in and out of droughts. They can go on a 1-for-8 team-wide scoring drought at any time during a basketball game. And that could hurt you when you're laying this many points. And we've seen Cincinnati repeatedly have issues covering these kind of numbers. You look at their recent results here. South Florida at home laying 13.5. They win by 8. UConn laying 11 at home. Need overtime to win that game, 74-72. Against East Carolina, big favorites on the road. They lose outright. So this has been a team that's had trouble winning by margin. And that 66-55 win against Wichita last weekend, let's not forget, Greg Marshall lost his mind. He was absolutely going bonkers. He was going berserk on the sideline, multiple technical fouls, turned a close game into a lead and an eventual win by margin for Cincinnati. Misleading final score there. I think Tulsa hangs around here in this game, catching 14.
A lot of people liking what you're on in this spot. Opening with Murray State, a lot of people backing that and liking Tulsa at the big plus spot. Great start. Now, a lot of people want to talk about the big Michigan State game, and we can close up this segment by talking about some of the plays that Drew is on and some of the big marquee matchups. But I love hearing you break down these games that we haven't touched on so far in this show. So I would just like to keep rolling with games you're looking at because these are 2 exciting spots that you've already jumped on. What else has caught your eye on this Thursday card?
Middle Tennessee State is a team that obviously after last season and losing, well, they've been great for years, Middle Tennessee State, but they lost Kermit Davis, their head coach, going to Ole Miss. Kermit Davis made this team one of the best mid-major programs in college basketball. They've had great talent year in and year out. Been one of the best teams in Conference USA. It's not been that way for the Blue Raiders this season. They've had their growing pains. They've took some lumps. Nick McDevitt, the first-year head coach of this team, coming over from UNC Asheville. And UNC Asheville is a good basketball team in the Big South Conference. And Nick McDevitt led that team to multiple first-place finishes, an NCAA tournament berth. So this is a good head coach here that they've got, Middle Tennessee State. But they lost a ton of their best players from last year, a ton of personnel lost due to graduation. And you saw this team really take their lumps in non-conference play. However, starting to see Middle Tennessee State, and they were a terrible point spread team. I mean, horrible straight-up record, horrible against the spread record in non-conference play. But now conference play starts. The chemistry's a little bit better now than it was in November. The ball movement's better. I guess the coach having an awareness of what his team is about identity-wise is better now than it was then. And suddenly you're starting to see Middle Tennessee State winning some games, covering some point spreads, and their horrible start has left them, maybe a little bit undervalued in the betting markets right now. I think this is a team that you may want to look at backing. I mean, I know this is not the Middle Tennessee State team, not even close to the Middle Tennessee State team of years past, but I think they're catching 4.5 here tonight against Rice. I grabbed the 4.5 here with the Blue Raiders. They've matched up very, very well against Rice in the past. Rice is not the kind of team I trust laying points. They've not exactly had a great show of it on the defensive end of the basketball court. And anytime you're talking about a team struggling to get stops at the defensive end of the court, laying points, it's always a little bit of an issue for me and not exactly a team I'm looking to endorse. So I think there's some money and some value in the numbers right now with MTSU, including tonight 4.5, catching that number at Rice.
I like this. What a great breakdown, Babano. Man, you have skills. Middle Tennessee, I think, yeah, you never want to see Rice as a favorite. Middle Tennessee has been improving. We saw that last out. Very, very interesting spot. Babano liking Middle Tennessee. I've got 4s across the board right now, and the total's gone down a point or a point and a half from its opener. Very, very interesting. Paco Healy saying Babano got a freestyle flow too. DJ Big Boss saying if you ever get a chance to party with Babano, he got some cold moves on the dance floor. I have also been witness to his ice cold moves on the dance floor. Shout out to Babano, and shout out to our guys, Paco Healy and Big Boss, who roll with us at IFBC. What a treat it was to roll with you guys. Absolutely. So I love these 3 breakdowns early. I absolutely am loving these breakdowns early. Murray State, Babano liking. Tulsa is a big double-digit dog against Cincy. And then Middle Tennessee up against Rice. And Babano also letting us know that Middle Tennessee could give us value moving forward, not even with this game, but moving forward. Very exciting breakdowns. What else are you looking at, Babano? I feel like a kid in the candy store. I'm excited. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, exactly. We're making you feel better. I heard you're not feeling great today. So hopefully these breakdowns and these hopefully winning recommendations will be making you feel better throughout the course of the day. Certainly by tonight. A couple more. I'm going to go one big conference game, one small conference game. We'll go small conference. Monmouth and Canisius. This is Metro Atlantic basketball. Here's another team that they couldn't have played any worse in non-conference play. King Rice's team has had some good Monmouth teams in years past. This hasn't been the greatest Monmouth team. They lost a lot of personnel as well from last year. They really had their problems in non-conference play. But all of a sudden, Metro Atlantic play begins. You get a chance maybe to iron out a lot of the kinks, a lot of the problems. And now Monmouth is playing their best basketball of the season right here, right now in conference play, and the betting markets are lagging behind. Plain and simple. You look at Monmouth, their last 6 games, 5-1 straight up, 5-1 against the spread. They're on a 4-0 straight up and against the spread streak. Went on the road against Siena, won in overtime, crushed Manhattan at home, crushed Fairfield at home, beat a very good Iona team at home in their last game on Friday night, 83-81. This is a team that's surging right now. This Monmouth Hawks team playing much better basketball. Defensively, they've improved their last 5 games, holding teams to just 38.4% shooting from the floor. That's what I like to see. Dion Hammond has been excellent for this team, shooting the basketball, has really stepped up as one of the better scorers on this team. Canisius, on the other hand, they're off 2 back-to-back road wins against Quinnipiac and Fairfield. And, coming off 2 big road wins, now they're coming back home. And believe it or not, Fairfield, or Canisius rather, they've struggled at home. They lost to Iona at home. They lost by double digits against Ryder at home. So this home court's not exactly been a great thing for them. They're 0-2 against the spread, 0-2 straight up. Their 2 previous Metro Atlantic home games. This is the red-hot point spread team walking in here, catching 5. I'm looking at Monmouth +5 in this game.
A lot of people backing that. Ocapo De Niro, I like Monmouth. Molly Mal, Monmouth, you say. Kylie Reynolds, Monmouth wins easily. And Chip Pilar saying, I always get Monmouth and Marist mixed up. Well, Monmouth looks like the spot today. Good BK Capper says, going under and take Monmouth. I shouted out Ian Cameron's Twitter handle at Babano. He is a must follow. Must follow. So check him out on Twitter. Wow, Monmouth at Canisius. Another dog spot. Would you sprinkle a little on the money line, or would you just take the points?
Always on the money line for a little bit, Jimmy. And I recommend that to all the viewers out there. If you like a underdog, you've got to have some kind of belief, or at least I do. Whenever I bet an underdog, doesn't matter how many points they're getting, I got to have some kind of belief in the pit of my stomach that they're going to win the game outright, or that they can win the game outright, or else I wouldn't bet that underdog. So absolutely, any dog I bet, I usually put, I have make the 1 unit or half unit, whatever I determine it to be, spread wager, and then I'll put probably a quarter of that on the money line as well, because it gives you that opportunity to maximize your return.
Great insight, Babano. Great insight. Man, what else are you looking at? Very exciting breakdowns of these 4 games so far. And I will ask Babano about those big marquee matchups that Drew went over. I will at the end of the show, so don't worry about that. What else are you looking at?
We'll go to the Pac-12. for a couple, actually. A couple, one side, one total. We're going to go over the total. It's moved up already a little bit, but I think there's still some value. Arizona State, UCLA. UCLA is playing at a much different pace, much different tempo since Steve Alford got fired, since Murray Bartow took over as the interim coach. He's really letting them get up and down the basketball court. He knows this team is really not going anywhere this year. It's not the best UCLA team by any stretch of the imagination. You know, they have a couple decent players, Chris Wilkes, Prince Ali, but it's not a vintage Bruin team. He's just saying, let's let them, have some fun, get some shots up, quicken the pace, speed it up a little bit, get up and down the court, and that's exactly the way UCLA has been playing the last few weeks. Arizona State, certainly under Bobby Hurley, they play up and down the court. They don't mind trading buckets with you. They don't mind getting in that full court type of basketball game at all. So over the total there with Arizona State, UCLA. Now UCLA's last couple games did stay under the total since this coaching change, but those were on the road. They didn't shoot well at all. The games that did go over the total since the coaching change and Murray Bartow becoming the interim coach, they were at home. UCLA, there's been a big home-road dichotomy in terms of their shooting numbers. I think back home now in Pauley Pavilion, it's going to allow them that opportunity to shoot the ball better. So I like the over there. And a favorite of mine that I like actually in Pac-12 as well, Washington State is beyond bad. They are absolutely atrocious. The Washington State Cougars. They're an awful basketball team. They don't play a lick of defense. Their only win in conference play came against Cal, who is probably the one team in the Pac-12 that's in even more dire straits than Washington State is. Washington State's terrible. They've been awful on the road. They've been blown out on the road repeatedly. They're playing an Oregon State Beavers team that, they're not a great team by any stretch in this conference, Oregon State, but they're coming off a couple of, big road losses against Arizona State and Arizona, and they actually battled in those games. They only lost by 3 at Arizona State and Tempe. They only lost by 9 against Arizona in Tucson. So they've made a decent show for themselves in those 2 games. Now they return home and they get to off 2 losses, so it's a good bet on bounce back spot where you should get max focus, max intensity from the Oregon State side. They got a chance to wipe away this Washington State team. You remember the last time they were at home laying points, they annihilated UCLA 79-66. They're laying about 12.5 in this game, Oregon State. I could make a case for laying the points here with Oregon State.
Mally Mal agreeing with that breakdown, also liking them -13, says, I like Oregon State. They beat them last year by a big margin. Great breakdowns, absolutely great breakdowns, helping us so much move into our afternoon study. I'm going to ask you about the 3 marquee matchups, but in under a minute, could you just to help us with our study, is there anything else that you're looking at that you don't need to break down, but you're just looking at that can kind of lead us into what we should be looking at while we study this afternoon?
You know what? I want to mention the Michigan State Iowa game because it's something that is something I want to bring up. I've sent out multiple plays on Iowa or against Iowa, betting against Iowa, and I've lost every single one of them. And sometimes there's going to be those teams that you bet on them and you lose. You bet against them and you lose, and you just don't have a good feel for that team. And you realize that you don't have a good feel for that team. And that's been Iowa for me. I mean, I've tried to go against this team multiple times. I have never liked Iowa in years past. They haven't played good defense in years past. I think they're a little bit of a soft team, finesse team. That they can shoot the ball decently, but I don't think they're a physical basketball team by any stretch. I'm not particularly enamored with the job that Fran McCaffrey's done coaching this team, but I've gotten them wrong twice now. I took Illinois against them. It was dead wrong. I took Nebraska against them. It was dead wrong. So the teams like that, I've become reluctant to go against them. That being said, there's no frickin' way I'm betting against Michigan State in that game. They have been on a roll. People have been maybe looking at letdown spots, look ahead spots as ways to try to go against this team. It hasn't mattered. Michigan State, even without Josh Langford, they've kept on going. Matt McQuaid is hitting threes now for them, making them even more lethal. We know Cassius Winston, one of the best players in the country. He's been all world for the Spartans right now. But at the same point in time, I've had Iowa pegged wrong from the beginning. They're clearly better than I thought they would be this season. So I'm willing to give them that respect and not bet against Iowa again here. But if you're asking me if I want to take a shot going against Michigan State right now, not a chance. Not the way they're playing.
Drew Martin was liking the under in this game. It's pretty high total. We know Iowa likes a fast pace. Thinking that Michigan State could slow that pace down. What are you thinking about the under here? You know, it opened at 156, and it's been bet up 156.5 and 157. And my openers are Bet Online openers. I have a ton of respect for Bet Online being first to the market, so I always use Bet Online openers. So what do you think about what Drew is liking? A lot of guys in the chat were agreeing with it. The under in Michigan State at Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, the under makes some sense. I mean, Michigan State in non-conference play was an over machine. Their defense, but as Big Ten play has started, we're starting to see them tighten things up defensively a little bit. Michigan State. I was impressed with the defense they played the other night against a very good Maryland Terrapins team. They shut them down. They neutralized Anthony Cowan. They frustrated their big man. Bruno Fernando as well in that game. They played really good defense, and they've played really good defense here in Big Ten conference play. Personally, it's a very high number. Iowa's defense scares me a little bit. I'm not involved personally, Jimmy, with the total here in this game, but I could see Drew's reasoning. It's a high number, and Michigan State is playing some good defense, and I think because they were such a high-scoring, high-flying team in non-conference play, their totals are probably a little bit inflated now that they're in the Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm going to keep an eye on what the market lets us know in that total. Also, Drew was talking a lot about Miami at Syracuse. Syracuse looks like it has turned it around. That Duke game was very special. And Miami's just such a banged-up squad. And a lot of people in the chat talking about how Miami has no size. And when they go up against teams with size, they get destroyed. Syracuse has that size. Open Syracuse -9, now -8. Total open at 140, now 137.5. What do you think of this Orangeman squad tonight?
Yeah, Syracuse is starting to get things going a little bit. You know, they pummeled Pittsburgh on the weekend. They had a nice win against Duke last week on the road at Cameron Indoor. So Jim Boeheim's getting his team going, and we know Syracuse has it in them to be a really good basketball team. We saw the run they made in March last year in the NCAA tournament. All we need is some guys to step up for them, scoring the basketball. Dolajai, Pascal Chukwu, Brissett, Battle, Frank Howard. Those guys, Tyus Battle, you're usually going to get points from him. But you got to get Frank Howard going, Chukwu, Brissett, Dolajai, the supporting cast for Syracuse, and being able to make shots. That's what's going to take Syracuse to that next level. They play great defense. The 2-3 zone was stifling last year. They're starting to really tighten that up in recent games here in ACC play. They're playing good, and Miami's a banged-up team. The effort's still there. I respect the hell out of Jimmy Larinaga. I think one of the better coaches in this country, but he's dealing with a bad hand right now. Jimmy, he's got a lot of he doesn't have a lot of depth on this team. It's an injury-riddled group. They don't have a deep bench. They get in foul trouble, and Syracuse doesn't mind playing physical with you. That could be trouble for them in this game. Here's my philosophy right now. I'm hoping Syracuse rolls in this game. I didn't bet tonight's game, but I hope Syracuse rolls tonight, and then they go on the road. And if they roll tonight, they're going to be going on the road Saturday against Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech now off a couple of losses, including the North Carolina loss Monday night on the road. I think a good spot for Virginia Tech Saturday night at home against Syracuse, and I think they have a chance to win that game. So I'm hoping Syracuse pours it on Miami tonight, and then I've got a better price and a good situation to go against Syracuse on Saturday when they go down to Blacksburg against Virginia Tech.
Oh, I love that breakdown. I love giving us an opportunity to look ahead to that Saturday match. Thank you for letting us know what your feeling is on that Saturday game. And then finally, Drew touched on this Memphis at Temple game, liking the over. Total opened extremely high at 160, now 158 and 157s. Open Temple -4.5, now -5. You have any feel for that?
Yeah, Temple's not a team I'm usually very comfortable with laying points. I mean, they've been able to do it on time, but Fran Dunphy has talked about it many times. We've seen it play out on the basketball court. This team sometimes takes 10 minutes off during a game or a half off. We've seen them get out to big leads in the first half, and then the next thing you know, in the second half, it's a game again. Temple has not consistently played 40 minutes of great basketball, and that's a concern here, especially with Memphis has been, again, they've been in a lot of games. Penny Hardaway has got them playing, a style that they're clearly having fun and enjoying playing here in this game. I lean Memphis, but Temple's another team. I think the one time I bet against them was the East Carolina game, and East Carolina just had such a bad first half they couldn't overcome it. So I'd lean Memphis, but it's not going to be a game that I'm involved with here. And by the way, going back to that Virginia Tech, one point I wanted to make about that. How do you beat Syracuse? You got to shoot the three ball well. Virginia Tech's got 3-point shooters. So from a matchup perspective Saturday, I think Virginia Tech could handle that zone maybe better than some teams.
Wow, what a treat it is to hear your NCAA basketball expertise. What a treat it is to have you making your live Low Shack in the Bag debut. Babano, we've loved having you. I hope that we can figure out a day or something that we could get you to be on our show as a regular guest, because we just love this insight. Babano, what's your Twitter handle and what are you up to this week that we can watch?
Yeah, Twitter at Bobano. That's where you can find me. You've got SBR Play of the Day videos. Every day I'll be doing those videos, and Seth at our social media runs the SBR Twitter account. He's going to post them every day for me, does a great job with that, so look out for that. rightwager.com is where the plays for me are. So lots of stuff going on, Jimmy. We got college basketball, NHL on All-Star break, looking forward to that being back next week. So lots of stuff coming up here to keep us busy as sports bettors.
What a treat it's been to run with these two cappers. So to go over Drew's spots, Drew likes the under in Michigan State at Iowa. He likes Syracuse at -8, and he likes the over in Memphis at Temple. And then we had Babano's action. Babano liking Murray State, liking Tulsa, plus all those points. Liking Middle Tennessee, liking Monmouth, liking Arizona State, UCLA over, and Oregon State to smash a very easy game this evening. Wow, what a treat. Stantino says Ian is a great capper. His breakdowns are second to none. It has been a treat rolling with you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining Low Shack in the Bag this morning. We have a lot of work to do this afternoon, and then Maxwell Smart will hammer these college games with me in the late show today. That's going off at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck with your afternoon study, and we will see you again shortly.